Hey, if you don't like people, you should embrace the cold, because no people. You get this whole place to yourself, which is absolutely amazing. So let's talk about riding in the cold. How can it be done? How can you have fun doing it? And how do I do it? The colder it gets, the slower I want to go. If it's above freezing, you might still see me on the road bike, on the road. Below freezing, I'm trying to avoid the black ice. I don't want to fall, crash on something that I don't see. Plus the wind, it's cold. So the colder it gets, the slower I want to go, meaning I want to start going off-road. The gravel roads aren't too covered in ice and snow. I'll head there. Maybe mountain biking. That's obviously the slowest out of the three. I'm definitely fat bike curious. Are we still calling it fat bikes, or is it weight challenge bicycles now? Could somebody let me know? The colder it gets, the slower you should go. Plus you get the trail to yourself. There's nobody there. And the views, all to yourself. And then once it's like freezing your skin off cold, I'll do Swift, I'll do the trainer, I'll stay indoors. I'm not gonna die out here. I mean, if it's like an, you know, minus 15 or something, I'm not doing that. But that's just the gist of what to ride. Let's talk about what to wear when we ride. So in general, for winter riding, I take the onion approach. Basically, many layers upon layers upon layers. That way it's easy to adjust. Take one off. When you're too hot, put one on. When you're too cold, layers. Layers.
A lot of pillows. You know, like ancient Egypt.
Okay, so as far as jacket goes, I don't want to be a bike snob and tell you to get this brand new ultra cycling jacket that's like $400 or something. You might already own a jacket that's perfect for cycling. It might not be a cycling jacket. I, for once, love riding in this jacket, and that is actually a cross-country ski jacket. So just because it's a winter jacket from another sport doesn't mean you can't use it for cycling. If it's not too loose, if the fit is right, it's good. Now, you can have a variety of, there's thermal, there's Gore-Tex. The thermal is nice because it's a little bit of like windproof on the exterior, and it's got a little fuzz on the inside. So that's my go-to outer layer. Down is nice and warm. It does poorly when it gets wet. So I usually don't do the down because of moisture. And then, yeah, Gore-Tex is nice. Or there's probably some overhyped nanotechnology, something horse that's like $400. So might not want to buy that. Look at other sports, skiing stuff to get bargains. Nice winter jacket. It's not a bad thing to have. I have a better place to spend that money more wisely on something that's way more important, at least for me, for winter riding, which is feet. Now, if you look at your regular mountain bike shoes or road bike shoes, there's summer shoes. I mean, people think of cycling in the summertime when it's warm. And they have these little mesh in the front, little vent, and they're just like ice buckets. They're super cold. Like if you ride these in the winter, you're gonna be unhappy. And for me, if I have cold feet, I'm cold. The whole body is cold. So I'm a person that likes to have warm feet and a warm head. So I wear a hat and I wear nice boots. The first level of this, let's just say it's in the 40s, 50s maybe. You can totally get away with putting booties over these. These are like neoprene sleeves that will basically go over the shoe itself. Will make it a little bit more warm, a little bit more airtight. The only problem is these shoes do not have an insulated sole. So you're gonna still get a lot of cold coming from below because these are just not insulated shoes. So even if you dress them up with booties, it's never gonna be as good as a winter boot, which I would say if there's one thing that you should splurge on for winter riding, it's a winter boot. That is an absolute game changer. I mean, as soon as I got my first winter boot, that's it. It's super comfortable. These are also, these Shimanos are really nice with the dry shield. They can be submerged in water and it takes a long time before I mean, I did a gravel race in the rain and I think I had dry feet for the first 2 hours. So it's pretty incredible. You can have the best jacket in the world. If you have shitty shoes, you're gonna be cold. Okay, let's backtrack to the beginning when you first start getting dressed. I think it's very nice to have a like merino wool or some sort of a wicking first layer shirt, basically transporting that sweat out. It also dries really quickly. So that first on skin base layer, they're not that expensive, but they're worth having. It's a game changer too for winter riding, because you don't want to have something that gets wet when you sweat and then it gets cold. So wool or any kind of like first layer wicking shirt, I would say is a must have. Now, as far as gloves goes, I don't get cold hands that easily. So I sometimes even in the winter ride with these really lightweight gloves. That's just preference. I mean, it goes from these gloves to a little heavier duty gloves to these gloves. And with these gloves, it just feels like you're like, you know, a Martian or whatever. Like you feel like you're an astronaut. You can't really feel anything. It's pretty weird and awkward riding with them. But if you have cold hands, you got to do what you got to do. No, another thing about the foot thing is you got to make sure you have good socks before you put on that nice shoe. So I would go with merino wool socks. Those are just super cozy, comfy. You don't get like sweaty feet. So wool socks, those are the ticket. They'll keep you nice and warm. Combination with a good winter boot, they're gonna be golden. Another great option is always a windbreaker. I mean, a lot of times, even when it's not super cold, the wind is really what makes you cold. So if you can block out the wind somehow, that really helps a lot. So a good windbreaker goes a long way. I would definitely have that as a layer option of your onion outfit. As far as winter tide goes, I really liked these winter tides, the Gore-Tex Castellis. I know, I'm showing off my expensive shit right now, but these are really cool. They have this wind stopping material in the front and they're breathable in the back. They're really fuzzy interiors, super cozy and warm, because I like to be warm in my core. I wear regular bibs below that. I've been known to wear 2 pairs of tights. I've actually had at one point triple tights on, because I don't want to be George Costanza coming out of the pool.
I'm really sorry.
Now, as far as keeping your head warm, there's also many levels of, you know, escalation, more or less. You can go from a regular, this is also a cotton cycling cap, to a headband, different levels of headbands, because sometimes you just want to not sweat too much either, but it keeps your ears warm. Then obviously a skull cap. Since you're still going to wear a helmet, you can't just wear a regular hat. So skull caps are great. And or these old-fashioned cycling caps are really nice because they go really far down in your neck, keeping your head really, really warm. I don't even know if they still make these, but these were always my favorite. And then last but not least, you want to get like a neck gaiter so that you can get your neck all warm and you can pull it up over your nose all the way underneath your eyes. So these are great. You can wear them over your head. There's so many ways of using these. Yeah, I really love the neck gaiters. Maybe don't get black because every time I throw it in the bag, it just vanishes in a sea of black. So they make different colors, but these are great to have. Now, besides that, I also wear clear glasses most of the times because the cold wind will just make your eyes runny and teary. Now, as far as the layers between the winter jacket and your first layer, could be any old cycling jerseys. You just, you know, even if they're thin, you just layer them up. You just keep adding more until you have it right. You definitely don't want to be warm when you start riding. You almost want to be cold the first 5 minutes of riding because you're going to start heating up. You're going to get warm. So if you're already like toasty warm, just standing there and before you're riding, you're just going to sweat yourself to death. So don't overdress, I would say, because then you sweat and then you get cold sweat and then it just spirals out of control and actually you, in the end, get colder from the results of the sweating. And now that you're dressed, you probably have to go to the bathroom and take it all off again. All right, let's talk about the bikes for a second. I really don't ride my road bike all winter long. I usually do the gravel bike or I do the mountain bike. I like the knobby tires. I usually go for a mud tire, a little softer compound, because the freezing cold temperatures will make the rubber much harder and less pliable. So you want to get a good mud tire with a soft compound. You can get studded tires for gravel bikes or mountain bikes for like 80 bucks if that's what you want to do, because ice is really the biggest problem. I don't really ride much on ice. I try to avoid that as much as I can. I don't have studded tires, but if that's what you want to do, or you have ice where you live, get studded tires, and it should be a blast. Oh, one more thing, fat bikes. People like to ride fat bikes in the winter around here. I've never done it. It looks fun. If you are a fat bike rider, please let me know in the comments what's so great about fat bikes in the winter. I know I've seen people bolt like mittens onto the handlebars and being all ready to do the Iditarod or some Arctic adventure. So I'm not quite there yet, but looks fun. Let me know. Fat bike, yeah, maybe I should rent one and see what that's all about. Congratulations. You made it through another video of mine, which is not easy, but here we are. If you're interested in bike packing, mountain bike, gravel skills, check out my channel. And by the way, 42,000 subscribers. Man, that's amazing. So I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to try to be a little more consistent now. I got to get into the grind, into the grind.